What the is going on with the R3? Are you serious, Canon? Is this real? Did you actually just make the most to another level? I'm going nowhere with that. It's just that, I had you, man. You were pulled in. You were like, oh, is he going off? Is this what we've been waiting for? Is this that video? What's up, everybody? Peter McKinnon here. Welcome back to yet another video, and let's talk the Canon R3. This here is the Canon 1DX Mark II. This has been my favorite camera in the world that I've ever used. You see, this is the camera that kind of launched my career on YouTube. This is the camera that's built me the most memories. This is the camera that's been to the most countries and seen the most. And speaking of this pro body, now we have a new Canon camera that's called the Canon R3, which is, let's say, the evolution of this camera. I'm gonna talk about that more. I just wanna, should I take it out? Oh, I haven't held this in so long. Oh, it's been a while, and this lens, look, this lens lost all the rubber. Yeah, by the way, never do this. If you've got the, don't. It's right there. It means a lot, that camera. One of the things I always like to do when I think about a new camera or I see a new camera being advertised is remember who the demographic is for, and this is for professional sports photographers, sporting event photographers that want to capture things at high speed. Sports aren't really my thing, says the guy wearing the Flyers hat. Here's the thing though, high-speed autofocus and some of the new features being talked about within that high-speed autofocus realm that the R3 is saying to have, that I'm interested in. So I think before we go any further with the Canon R3, it's important to know the specs that are out there publicly right now. This video is not sponsored by Canon. I've never held, touched, or even seen in person the R3 at all, and I know what you know as far as the stats on this camera and what's been released publicly. So far, what we know is we've got a 30 frames per second RAW stills camera. That's like video, basically. A very, very fast. Again, targeting towards professionals that are shooting sports who need high speed autofocus. 30 frames per second with that is a deadly combo. Hell yes, that's rad. Megapixels, I don't know yet. So much like they have eye tracking for humans and animal AF tracking, now they're introducing vehicles to that, which is pretty great. So if you're shooting something like F1 or NASCAR, or you're just a big automotive photographer and your friends are ripping up and down the street safely with belts, let's be honest, you're capturing that stuff way easier now because the camera's doing all the work for you, and that's great if it works, right? I haven't tried it yet, no one's tried it. Now, another new thing that's blowing my mind, this new eye control autofocus, where the sensor actually tracks your iris within the viewfinder and focuses where you're looking. That is unreal, and I would love to try it and see a demo on it and see how good it works. You're gonna get the same kind of weatherproofing as a 1D body, which that's one of the reasons I actually got the 1DX Mark II before this entire channel started, was because I'm rough with my gear and I like the fact that it's taken sandstorms in Dubai to being frozen outside in Canada in the -30 temperatures. That camera is tough. Seeing that new same weather sealing and weather system on an R3 mirrorless style camera, that's good. And with that weather sealing, you also have the built-in grip now with the flip LCD. And the flip LCD was the only thing I ever wanted with the 1DX Mark II, which would have made that the perfect camera. Your autofocus in low light is going to be way better at -7 now, so that's up to 8 stops of image stabilization as well within the camera and the lens. So way better at seeing in the dark. The 1DX Mark III was -6 and the 1DX Mark II is -3. So bringing that up to -7 is just making this thing better and better in low light. 4K C-Log3, 4K or oversampled 4K RAW internal recording. That's what we know so far. Again, I don't have one, but the second I do, you know that I'll be making a video about it, and I will post on Twitter that I have it, and you can ask all your questions, and I'll probably do a Q&A, and then I'd like to go get some sample footage with it. And this video is brought to you by Squarespace. Honestly, a little story time. I started petermckinnon.com in college. I went to school for for graphic design, if you didn't know that. My mom actually picked the course because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. She was like, you're gonna be a graphic designer. And I was like, okay, mom. Learned a lot about Photoshop though, and Illustrator, and a lot of these programs that have helped me today. But I remember being in Dreamweaver, making different HTML pages, or using Flash to make like an intro page so it had some kind of life and vibrance to it. And this was such a process, making an HTML site in Dreamweaver and Flash and coding all the buttons to do different things in an email form. God, just thinking of an email form, having to make that, and it was such a pain. So to see like literally the time it would take me now to boot up Dreamweaver and figure out how to start a new project, I'd already be done making an entire website with Squarespace. It takes no time. I also thought recently with Instagram saying that it's no longer a photo sharing app, now is a great time to move that portfolio back to a place on the internet where it'll actually work for you, like a website. And you guessed it, Squarespace have great templates for photographers, for your portfolio. So you can upload all your photos, have all the contact and email forms that your clients can contact you from so they can book you to take photos for them that then you can add back to the website. Lots of services like that that'll work for your business. Award-winning templates, 24/7 customer service. You know this stuff. You can also have an online store, podcasts. It's not just a platform for making a portfolio for photographers. So if you decide to do so, use the code McKinnon at checkout and save yourself 10% off. You can get there by going to squarespace.com/McKinnon. Share that code with your friends. You can use it to renew. You're good. And that was heavy. I felt like I went on a roll, and I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna speak from the heart. And Squarespace have been a great supporter of this channel from literally day one. They were one of the reasons I was able to go full-time with YouTube. So I really like the service. They're good people with a good product, and that's a good thing. Check them out. Now let's get back to talking about this R3, okay? We're not done. We're not done here, but will I use it? Would it replace my daily camera, which is right now the R5? And I think back in 2018, the answer would have been yes, because the Pro body, I just loved it for how big the batteries were. Even though the charger was massive to carry around, I didn't have to change batteries as often. It was great. I love having the vertical grip so I don't have to do this. And when people do this and they have a grip here, I don't really ever understand that. It kind of makes me laugh. But I haven't missed anything else as much where I feel like I need to go back to a Pro body. It's actually quite the opposite. I enjoy the R5 because of its size. Mobility for me is now more important than having more features. Obviously that's welcome, but if it comes at the cost of a bigger camera, I feel like these days I'm not really interested in that as much. But again, I wouldn't be the demographic that they'd be going after for the R3. I don't shoot pro sports. I don't shoot F1 or fast automotive things. Although lately I have been shooting an odd amount of automotive, which is just entirely random. I don't know that this camera would suit all of my needs personally, and that's also being said without ever using the camera. But I'm excited to try it. Never say never. I love the new finish that's on it. I feel like Canon was due for like a bit of an update. I want to know what the battery life looks like. I want to see a deeper dive into video specs. I want to see how it holds up to other cameras on the market. I want to see what that oversampled 4K RAW looks like. I want to see how good this autofocus is. Is it so good that once I use it, I'll never be able to live without it? All these things that need answers that I'm sure we'll all have soon. And that is all the news I have right now. It's a question I've been getting asked a lot is, what do you think about the R3? Do you have an R3? Pete's probably already got an R3. Would you use it as your daily? I'm sure any day now or any week, maybe this month, I'll get one in my hands. Oh, and let me know your thoughts below. What do you think of the Canon R3? Is it something that you think you would upgrade to? Where do you see it sitting in the line of cameras that are available today? That's it for me, guys. I will see you in the next one. I didn't even do anything with that's just a sound effect I've been doing for years. I didn't even cover, I just did the sound. I'm working on this hand every day. I've been trying to get the dexterity back in my left hand, and I know that a deck of cards will greatly help me with that. I'm so much slower than I used to be. Everything just sucks a little bit more. The skill is diminished. But the hand's doing great. Thank you for asking. Or seeing this in my hand and thinking, oh, I guess his hand is feeling a little better. It most certainly is, but it gets stuck, it gets hung up at spots, and I couldn't even do this 2 weeks ago. So that's good. A little Charlier cut, a little, ooh, that one stretches a bit. Ugh. I know why you're here. And you know why you're here, and it's not for this. So let's just cut it, okay? Let's just cut it out and get down to brass tacks.